May is here, and if your front porch is still sitting there with empty pots and bare containers, this video is going to change that today. Not with annuals you have to replace every single year. Not with fussy plants that need constant attention. We are talking about perennials. Plants that come back fuller, more beautiful, and more established every single season. Plants that you put in a container once and they reward you for years. Today on Daily Garden Fix, we are counting down 10 of the most gorgeous decorative container perennials you can plant right now in May. Plants that will make your front house look like something off the cover of a garden magazine. And I promise you, by plant number 4, you are going to be grabbing your keys to head to the nursery. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Daily Garden Fix. And if you are brand new here, welcome to the family. This channel is all about giving you the ideas, the knowledge, and the confidence to make your outdoor space genuinely beautiful, without overcomplicating it and without overspending. Before we dive in, hit that like button right now. Not at the end. Right now. Because this list took real research to put together, and if even one of these plants transforms your front porch this May, you are going to wish you hit it sooner. 10 plants. 15 minutes. Let's go. Plant 1 Lavender. Plant number 1 is one of the most beloved garden plants in the entire world, and for good reason. Lavender. And before you say you have tried it and it died, hear me out. Because lavender in a container is actually easier than lavender in the ground. And most people are killing it for one simple reason: too much water. Lavender is a Mediterranean plant. It evolved in hot, dry, rocky hillsides. It does not want rich, moist soil. It does not want to be pampered. It wants to be slightly neglected in the best possible way. In a container, this works beautifully because you have complete control over the drainage. Use a terracotta pot, never plastic. Terracotta breathes and dries out between waterings, which is exactly what lavender needs. Fill it with a mix of regular potting soil and coarse horticultural grit or perlite. Roughly 60% soil, 40% grit. This replicates the fast-draining rocky soil lavender loves in the wild. Plant it in full sun. Water it thoroughly when you plant it, then leave it alone until the top 2 inches of soil are completely dry. And then water thoroughly again, then leave it alone again. That is the entire care routine. In May, lavender is just coming into its first flush of bloom. Those iconic purple spires rising above the silver-gray foliage. On your front porch in a terracotta pot, it looks classic, it looks elegant, and it smells extraordinary every time someone walks past your front door. A single lavender plant costs $3 to $8. It will come back bigger and more beautiful every May for years. Plant 2. Heuchera. Plant number 2 is the one that garden designers reach for again and again whenever they need reliable, year-round color in a container. Heuchera, also known as coral bells. And if you have never grown Heuchera before, you are about to become completely obsessed. Here is what makes Heuchera extraordinary. The color is not in the flowers, it is in the leaves. And the range of foliage colors available in modern Heuchera varieties is genuinely astonishing. Deep burgundy, burnt caramel, lime green, silvery purple, rich chocolate brown with silver veining, peachy coral. These are not subtle differences. These are bold, dramatic colors that hold all season long, every season, year after year. In May, Heuchera also throws up delicate, wiry stems, topped with tiny bell-shaped flowers in coral, pink, or white, which is where the common name coral bells comes from. The flowers are beautiful, but honestly, they are secondary. The foliage is the main event. For containers on your front porch, Heuchera works brilliantly as a filler plant. The middle layer in a thriller, filler, spiller arrangement. Pair a deep burgundy Heuchera with a tall, spiky purple Salvia behind it and a silver trailing Decorative spilling over the front of the pot. The color combination is rich, sophisticated, and stops people in their tracks. Heuchera is fully hardy and evergreen in most climates, meaning it looks good in your container 12 months of the year. Planted in partial shade to full shade, it is one of the very best options for a north-facing or shaded front porch where other plants struggle. $4 to $10 per plant. Put it in once and enjoy it for a decade. Plant 3. Agapanthus. Plant. Number 3 is bold, architectural, and produces one of the most spectacular summer flower displays you will ever see in a container. Agapanthus, also called the African lily or lily of the Nile. Now Agapanthus in May looks deceptively quiet. You have a clump of long, strap-like dark green leaves sitting in your container looking neat and tidy, but not particularly dramatic. And then June arrives. And July. And suddenly, enormous round flower heads explode on top of tall, strong stems. Perfect globes of electric blue, deep violet, or pure white, each one made up of dozens of individual trumpet-shaped flowers clustered together. The display is jaw-dropping and it lasts for weeks. Here is the key thing to know about Agapanthus in containers. It actually blooms better when slightly pot-bound. Unlike most plants that need repotting regularly, Agapanthus prefers to be a little cramped. It channels that energy into flowering rather than producing more roots and foliage. So do not rush to upsize the pot. Let it sit snug and it will reward you with more blooms. And plant in full sun in a heavy, stable container. Agapanthus gets tall and top-heavy when in bloom, and a lightweight pot will blow over in summer wind. Use good quality loam-based compost rather than light peat-based mixes for the same stability reason. In May, plant your Agapanthus and place it in the sunniest spot on your front porch. By midsummer, your front house will have a container that looks like it belongs in a Chelsea flower show exhibit. $6 to $15 per plant. The display it produces is worth every cent. We are just getting started. And coming up later in this video, I am going to show you a perennial that most people walk straight past at the nursery without a second glance. But when you see what it looks like in a front porch container in full bloom, you will not be able to believe you ever overlooked it. That is plant number 7, and it is a genuine showstopper. Keep watching. Plant 4. Salvia, 520 to 620. Plant number 4 is the workhorse of the decorative container world. And I mean that as the highest possible compliment. Because the best plants are the ones that look spectacular and ask almost nothing of you in return. Salvia is exactly that plant. Perennial salvias in May are just waking up, sending out fresh new growth and preparing for one of the longest, most reliable bloom seasons in the garden. From late spring right through to the first frosts of autumn, Salvia pumps out spike after spike of flower in the most incredible shades of deep violet, royal blue, rich purple, cherry red, and soft pink. The variety called Salvia nemorosa, woodland sage, is the one to look for first. It is compact, perfectly proportioned for container life, and produces dense, upright spikes of violet-blue flowers that look extraordinary in a terracotta or dark-glazed pot on a front porch. Deadhead the spent spikes, and within 2 weeks an entirely new flush of flowers replaces them. It is almost embarrassingly generous. For a front porch container combination, plant tall blue salvia as your thriller, the tall central statement plant. Surround it with silver-leaved plants like Artemisia or dusty miller as your filler. Then let something soft and trailing like creeping Jenny or silver falls decandra spill over the edges. The blue, silver, and green combination is clean, sophisticated, and looks stunning against brick, stone, or painted rendered walls. Full sun, reasonably well-drained soil, water when dry. That is the entire job description. $3 to $8. Enormous return for almost zero effort. Plant 5. Hostas. Plant number 5 is for anyone whose front porch sits in shade, and who has ever felt frustrated that all the most beautiful plants seem to need full sun. Because this plant does not just tolerate shade, it absolutely thrives in it. And it is one of the most elegant architectural container plants in existence. The hosta. Hostas are all about the leaves. Enormous, bold, beautifully structured leaves in colors ranging from deep forest green to blue-gray, to bright gold, to creamy, white-edged, to almost entirely white. The texture of the leaves is extraordinary, too. Deeply ribbed, corrugated, puckered, or smooth and glossy depending on the variety. In a large container on a shaded front porch, a single mature hosta is a complete statement all by itself. In May, hostas are unfurling their new leaves for the season. And watching a hosta emerge in spring is genuinely one of the great pleasures of gardening. The tightly rolled shoots push up from the soil and slowly unfurl into those magnificent leaves over a period of weeks. For containers, choose compact or medium varieties. Summon Substance is a spectacular golden-leaved giant. Halcyon is a perfect blue-gray that almost glows in shade. Francie is a classic green with clean white margins. Any of these in a large dark container on a shaded porch looks genuinely stunning. Water hostas consistently. Unlike lavender, they like moisture. Feed them monthly through spring and summer with a balanced liquid fertilizer. And in autumn, the leaves die back completely and the plant disappears underground until May rolls around again and the whole beautiful show starts over. $4 to $12, year after year after year. Plant 6. Coneflower, Echinacea. Plant number 6 brings bold, upright prairie-style drama to your front porch container. And it does it in one of the most cheerful, generous ways of any plant on this entire list. Echinacea, the coneflower. If you have only ever seen the original species Echinacea with its classic purple-pink petals and raised orange central cone, you are in for a revelation. Modern Echinacea breeding has produced varieties in hot coral, deep magenta, warm burnt orange, soft yellow, creamy white, and rich red. Many of them with doubled or ruffled petals that look almost tropical in their flamboyance. And every single one of them comes back reliably every year, gets bigger and more floriferous as the clump matures, and blooms for months from midsummer through autumn. In May, your Echinacea is building its root system and producing fresh basal foliage. The real flower show arrives in June and July and just keeps going. Plant it now in May, so it establishes well before the heat of summer. Echinacea wants full sun and very well-drained soil. In containers, use a gritty, free-draining mix and do not overwater. It is naturally drought-tolerant once established and will actually produce more compact, sturdier stems if you let the soil dry out somewhat between waterings. For front porch impact, plant a hot coral Echinacea like Magnus or Sombrero Sangria in a tall, dark metal or concrete container. The combination of the vibrant flower color against a dark, sophisticated pot is genuinely striking from the street. $4 to $10 per plant. And the bees and butterflies it attracts will make your front garden feel completely alive all summer long. 6 down and 4 to go. And the best ideas in this video are still coming. Because up next, I am revealing the plant that professional garden designers use more than almost any other for instant front-of-house container drama. It is dramatic, it is architectural, it looks expensive, and it is far easier to grow than most people think. Do not go anywhere. Plant 7. Ornamental Grass, Festuca Carex. Plant number 7 is the one I promised you earlier. The plant most people walk straight past at the nursery without a second glance. And it is such a shame because this plant, used correctly in a front porch container, creates more architectural drama and year-round interest than almost anything else on this list. Ornamental grass, specifically Festuca Carex varieties. Here is why designers love ornamental grasses in containers. They provide movement. Every other plant on this list is relatively static. The flowers and leaves sit where they are. But grass moves with every breath of wind. It catches the light differently at every hour of the day. In the morning sun, it glows. In the evening, it becomes almost luminous. And that constant, gentle, living movement gives a front porch an energy that no other plant can replicate. Festuca glauca, blue fescue, forms tight, spiky mounds of striking silvery blue foliage about 12 inches tall and wide. It looks almost like a sea urchin sitting in your pot. Architectural, graphic, completely distinctive. It holds its blue color right through winter and needs almost no care whatsoever. Carex varieties offer a wider range of colors: warm bronze, bright gold, deep green with cream edges, with a more flowing fountain-like habit that drapes beautifully over the edges of a container. Use ornamental grasses as your central thriller plant and build the rest of your container combination around them. Blue fescue with deep purple Heuchera and trailing purple lobelia. Bronze carex with orange marigolds and cream calabrachoa. The contrast between the fine texture of the grass and the broader leaves of companion plants is always visually interesting. $3 to $8. Movement, color, and architectural drama in a single plant. Plant 8. Sedum. Stonecrop. Plant number 8 is the plant for anyone who has ever struggled to keep container plants alive through a hot, dry summer, or who simply wants a front porch that looks after itself. Sedum, also called stonecrop, and in a decorative container on your front porch, it is one of the most rewarding perennials you can grow. Sedums are succulents. They store water in their thick, fleshy leaves and stems, which means they are extraordinarily drought-tolerant and almost impossible to kill through neglect. Forget to water for a week during a heat wave? Your sedum will not even notice. Plant it, place it in the sun, and it will look after itself with minimal intervention. But the reason sedum makes this list as a decorative container perennial for front house beauty is not just its toughness, it is the flower display. In late summer and early autumn, tall upright sedums like Autumn Joy produce enormous flat-topped flower heads in rich, dusty pink that age through deep rose to copper to russet as the season progresses. The flower heads are so substantial and so long-lasting that a single plant in a statement pot becomes a genuine focal point for months. In May, plant your sedum now so it establishes through spring and is ready to put on its show when late summer arrives. The foliage through spring and summer is attractive too. Blue-gray, succulent leaves on upright stems that look clean and structural in a container. Pear. Autumn Joy, sedum with ornamental grasses and late-season perennials for a container combination that looks spectacular right through until the first hard frosts. $3 to $8. Drought-proof, frost-hardy, and beautiful. An almost perfect container plant. Plant 9. Astilbe. Plant number 9 is a plant that most people associate with the back garden border. But in a container on a front porch, it is absolutely spectacular and wildly underused. Astilbe. And once you see what it can do in a decorative pot, you will wonder why you never thought to use it this way before. Astilbe produces feathery, plume-like flower spikes in the most beautiful range of colors: hot magenta, deep cherry red, soft baby pink, pure white, warm salmon, and rich dark purple. The flowers are not solid masses of color like many other perennials. They are light and airy and delicate, like colored smoke rising above the foliage. The effect in a container, especially when several plants are grouped together in a large pot, is genuinely breathtaking. Or the foliage is beautiful too. Deeply cut, almost fern-like, in glossy dark green or bronze-tinted shades depending on the variety. Even before Astilbe blooms, the foliage alone earns its place in a container. The critical thing to know about Astilbe in containers is water. Unlike most plants on this list, Astilbe loves moisture. It does not want to dry out. In a container, this means watering more frequently than you might expect. Every day in hot weather is not unusual. To help retain moisture, mix water-retaining gel crystals into your compost when planting, and top-dress the surface with a thick layer of mulch. Plant Astilbe in partial shade to full shade. It does not perform well in hot, direct sun. On a shaded or east-facing front porch, it will be completely at home. And for a front porch container combination that stops people in their tracks, plant 3 Astilbes of the same variety in a large, dark glazed bowl. Nothing else. Just the Astilbes. The mass of feathery plumes erupting from that single container is more dramatic than almost anything you could create with a mixed planting. $4 to $10 per plant. Genuinely one of the most beautiful perennials in existence. 1 plant left. And I have saved the most versatile, most impactful, and honestly most exciting perennial on this entire list for last. This is the plant that professional garden designers call their secret weapon for front-of-house containers. It works in sun or shade. It works in any color scheme. And in May, it is just hitting its absolute peak. Plant number 10 is 30 seconds away. Stay right there. Plant 10. Japanese Painted Fern, Ethereum. And here we are, plant number 10. The grand finale. And I have saved what I genuinely believe is the most beautiful, most sophisticated, and most underappreciated container perennial for last. The Japanese Painted Fern, Ethereum nipponicum. Most people think of ferns as plain green background plants. Useful but unremarkable. The Japanese painted fern will completely change that perception the moment you see it. The fronds of Ethereum nipponicum are not green. They are silver. They are pewter gray. They are washed with deep burgundy and wine red along the central rib and stems. The overall effect is of a plant that looks like it has been hand-painted, which is exactly where the common name comes from. No 2 fronds are identical. Each one is slightly different in the way the silver and burgundy interact across its surface. It is one of the most visually complex and beautiful foliage plants in existence. In a container on a shaded or semi-shaded front porch, Japanese painted fern is nothing short of extraordinary. The silver tones catch every available light and seem to glow even on overcast days. Pair it with deep burgundy Heuchera and pure white Astilbe in a large dark container, and the combination is so sophisticated and so beautiful that people will stop in front of your house to look at it. In May, the new fronds are unfurling in that spectacular silver and burgundy, fresh, pristine, and at their most vivid. This is the perfect moment to plant and the perfect moment to enjoy. As the season progresses, the fronds mature and multiply, filling the container with an ever denser, ever more beautiful display. Care is straightforward. Shade or partial shade. It will scorch in full sun. Consistent moisture. It does not want to dry out completely. A generous mulch on the surface of the container to retain moisture and keep the roots cool. In autumn, the fronds die back and the plant disappears entirely underground, only to return in May with that same fresh, perfect painted display all over again. $4 to $12, year after year. And every single year it gets bigger, fuller, and more beautiful than the year before. That is what a perennial is supposed to do. And that is why every plant on this list is worth every penny you spend on it. Before the outro, 3 bonus tips that will make every container perennial on this list perform at its absolute best. Bonus tip 1. Always use the right-sized container. Perennials need room to establish a proper root system. Too small a pot, and the roots circle and choke themselves. As a general rule, choose a container that is at least twice the width of the root ball you are planting. For tall plants like Agapanthus and Salvia, go even larger. A generous container means a generous plant. Bonus tip 2. Feed consistently through the growing season. Perennials in containers cannot send their roots out into the surrounding soil to find nutrients the way garden plants can. Everything they need has to come from you. Use a balanced, slow-release granular fertilizer mixed into the compost at planting time. Then, top up with a liquid feed every 2 to 3 weeks from May through August. The difference between a fed container perennial and an unfed one is dramatic. Bonus tip 3. Group your containers. A single pot on a front porch looks nice. 3 containers grouped together at different heights looks designed. 5 containers of different sizes arranged in a cluster looks like a professional garden designer was involved. You do not need more plants. You need better arrangement. Pull your pots into groups. Vary the heights. Let the plants spill into each other slightly. The effect is lush, abundant, and genuinely beautiful. So there you have it. 10 decorative container perennials to plant this May for the most beautiful front house you have ever had. Lavender, Heuchera, Agapanthus, Salvia, Hostas, Echinacea, Ornamental Grasses, Sedum, Astilbe, and Japanese Painted Fern. And every single one of them will come back next May. Every single one of them will be bigger and more beautiful than this year. That is the magic of perennials. You do the work once and the garden rewards you for years. Now here is your action step before you close this video. Pick 2 plants from this list, 1 for sun and 1 for shade. Write them down right now. Take that list to your local nursery this week while May is still here and these plants are at their peak availability. Because the best time to plant a container perennial is right now. Drop a comment below and tell me which 2 you are going with. I read every comment on this channel and I will personally reply. And if you are already growing any of these in containers, I would love to hear how they are performing for you. Share it in the comments. This community learns from each other. If you are new to Daily Garden Fix, welcome. Subscribe and turn on notifications because new garden ideas go up every single week, and the ideas coming up over the next few weeks are some of the best this channel has ever produced. And if this video helped you today, share it with one person who has been staring at their bare front porch wondering where to start. Because this video is exactly where to start. I will see you in the next one. Keep planting, keep growing. And remember, the most beautiful front house on your street could be yours this May. Take care. Bye.